Hey guys, it's GirlGotGame. Welcome back to our life, and we finally begin Baxter's route. I am so excited. I fell in love with that boy when I first laid eyes upon him, and I can't wait to see what his route is like. So I'm in step 2. I'm currently in the middle of soiree. I've skipped a few things that we haven't seen before, but words, dialogue, that kind of thing are really starting to change now as I'm getting into it. So I've decided to go alone to hopefully get some one-on-one time with Baxter. And yeah, so we ran into Cove, so I'm going to call out to him and we'll just pick up from here and see how soiree plays out. I also did a few moments with Cove and one with Derek, and then that was as far as my random number generator let me go. So I think I did 2 with Cove and then 1 with Derek. I'm doing the soiree from Cove's perspective. And yeah, there you go. I think that's all the catch-up I need to do. Cove, hello! Cove grinned at you from over his shoulder before turning around to wade back to the shore.
Molly!
What are you up to?
My moms are taking me to a soiree tomorrow at their country club.
A soiree? Sounds exciting.
Cove tried to show a level of enthusiasm, keeping his grin pinned in place, but you could tell that he had no envy towards your plans. And don't worry, I'll leave you be. I'm attending by myself. Elizabeth is staying home. My moms will be there, but I don't need to hang around them if I don't want to.
Hey, that's a big thing for them to let you do. I hope it's fun.
The strain had gone from his smile, which was back to being genuine.
Thanks for letting me know you're not going to be around tomorrow.
No problem. You can get back to what you were doing now. I can tell you're real busy.
That's right. The ocean isn't going to swim in itself. Someone has to do it.
Shaking your head, you waved Cove up as he crossed down the shore. And then you began to head back home, feeling good that you had settled your plans for tomorrow. Huzzah. You crossed the threshold of your house as alone as when you'd first set out. You'd considered the available options, limited as they were, and hadn't felt right about any of them attending tomorrow's event with you. At the sound of the door opening, your mom popped her head into the hall.
How are you?
Hi, Molly. How's it going?
I was thinking about what you and Ma said about the soiree tomorrow. There isn't really anybody I'd want to take. Your mom seemed unfazed by your decision, nodding as you came to join her in the living room. You dropped onto the sofa, comforted by the cushions that pressed into you.
Oh, that's fine. There's going to be plenty to do at the party anyway, so it'll be a good time for just the 3 of us. No need to push yourself into going with anyone if you don't want to.
Ah, thank goodness for leaving that wet blanket at home. Yeah, we'll have a great time.
That's the spirit. And hey, I'm proud of you for not forcing yourself into something you're not up for.
She leaned in and ruffled your hair. Thanks, Mom. You smiled at her, feeling content with the world. And the rest of the afternoon passed by just like that. Alright, are we... I don't think so. I think this is all new. Whoops. Back in your room, you idly thought about the upcoming soiree. You were pleased that you didn't have the pressure of taking someone else as a guest, leaving you free to relax and enjoy the evening with your moms. There would be more chances to take someone to one of these shindigs, whether as a guest or even a date. The country club threw parties often enough. For now, you were happy to be left to your own devices. You were definitely looking forward to the big night. Alright. Let's look for something formal. I like dressing up. I'm gonna wear a dress.
Thanks.
I forgot how lovely you two look this evening. Mom's eyes then flicked to the clock on the wall.
It happens.
It's about that time. We should say bye to Elizabeth before we head out. Who knows? She might not make it through the night and this'll be our last chance.
Ma shook her head at her wife's choice in jokes. Mom just chuckled.
Elizabeth!
I wonder why the... Oh, I guess because Cove isn't here to drop by before we leave. Makes sense. Moments after the... Well, I guess either Cove or Derek. I forgot that Derek also came. Moments after the call, you heard your sister's feet on the stairs. Elizabeth waltzed into the room, eyebrow arched. She'd been summoned, but wouldn't be hurried. You're still here?
Well, I know you're excited, but we haven't even said goodbye. And I want to go over how things are going to play out.
Elizabeth sighed as Mom began listing the rules, ticking them off on her fingers.
No ordering takeout or other deliveries. You can't have anyone else come over.
She nodded, resigned to her fate, listening to a set of rules she could predict without so much as a glance at a crystal ball.
If anything happens, you can call us or go across the street to the Holdens. Keep the noise down. This house might be empty, but there are people all around in the neighborhood. Usual house rules still apply. Don't do anything you wouldn't do if we were here.
All right.
And we'll be back no later than 11:30 p.m. But we'll call if there are any issues, so don't tie up the phone line all night.
Right. All done. Can you go now? Ma strode over and swept Elizabeth up in a hug. Your sister let out a small noise, her eyes widening, and suddenly looked much less like the smug teenager she acted like.
You're such a big girl now. I still can't believe it.
Elizabeth rolled her eyes. This wasn't the quick departure that she'd been hoping for. Any chance of it ending soon vanished as Mom joined in the hug.
Neither can I. It feels like it was only yesterday that...
Elizabeth groaned, trying to cut the reminiscing off without success. Hug pile!
Jeez.
The embrace finally ended as your moms unlinked their arms from your sister.
Fine, we really do have to be going. Bye, sweetie. Ring if you need us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mom bounced her finger on the tip of Elizabeth's nose. Elizabeth wrinkled it in disgust.
See you later.
Take care.
Yeah, sure.
Bye. See you in a few hours. See you later. If you ever leave. Now can I finally enjoy the private time I was promised? Your moms laughed at her insistence to get you all out of the door. It hurts so much. I think it's pretty funny. She tended to be the one who rubbed others the wrong way. It was entertaining having the tables turned on her. With another brief round of goodbyes and Elizabeth seconds away from literally pushing your group out of the house, the three of you bundled into the car and set off to the party. Well, that was amusing.
So, Molly, how do you want to tackle the party? I'm a lone wolf.
I don't know.
Okay, whatever you want is fine with us. Just make it known when you've got an idea.
The ride continued on with some silence and moments of casual conversation.
Almost there. Have you got your dancing shoes on?
You looked down at your feet. The shoes were as stiff as if you just picked them off the rack. You didn't have much cause to break them in. The label didn't say.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right, we've arrived. You pulled up at the country club. The sun had sunk deep into the horizon, the last of its light sleepily warming the oncoming night. Your moms led the way to the space around the back where the actual event was being held. The place had been transformed through decoration, with stark tablecloths and elegant ribbons contributing to a festive atmosphere. Musicians dressed in matching black and white were setting up their instruments and flicking through pages of sheet music. And, as promised, there was a table covered in plates of beautiful food. The space itself wasn't the only thing you recognized. There were a number of familiar faces who were also regulars here. You and your parents exchanged greetings and caught up with those you hadn't seen in a while. There was a lot of cooing compliments about how wonderful you looked. Thank you. Before you knew it, the sun had tucked itself away for the night. Taking its place were hundreds of twinkling lights. Okay, it doesn't seem like we're going to sneak away to Baxter's party, so maybe he'll sneak over to us? The party was beginning in earnest, which meant you needed to figure out how you were going to make the most of it.
I wanna dance with somebody.
I think this is what I need. You toe to the edge of the dance floor, looking for someone who might be interested in joining you. Feeling a tap on your shoulder, you glance behind to find a boy with dark brown eyes standing there. We found him! Ah, delightful. Delightful. I'm so excited. At a guess, you estimated he was around your age, maybe a little older.
Are you planning on dancing?
Yeah, if I can find a partner. Smiling, the stranger nodded at your response.
We should dance then. It's perfect timing. A new song is just about to start.
I'm flattered. He simply continued to look over your face, even lifting his hand up for you to take. You told him off. I accept. Yeah. I would be nervous, for sure. I was nervous anytime a guy asked me to dance. Especially if I didn't know him all that well, so... You took his hand in yours. The only acknowledgement he gave was a casual wisp of a smile. You suspected this was as routine for him as a handshake. Together, you walked out onto the dance floor. The boy's stance shifted into proper form for formal dancing, confirming your earlier suspicions. He clearly had lessons in this area, which explained his casual attitude about securing a dance. A lot of the country club parents put their kids in classes like that, whether as part of a last-minute panic before a big event, or a weekly extracurricular as soon as the kid could walk. I enjoyed classes. I took it regularly. Had a phase of going to classes, but didn't like it. Never taken classes. Took a class or two, but never developed any skill. The top one. From the way he confidently guided you into position, you would guess that he'd been one who was enrolled in dance classes for some time. Yet you had come to the country club quite a few times over the years, and you struggled to recall seeing him before. The first notes of the new song caught you off guard. You began to dance, your unknown partner taking the lead. The two of you moved to the music. As you proved your own skill on the dance floor, competently keeping pace with the music and taking deft steps that matched his, the boy's eyes lit up. Your partner and you were quickly able to get into a groove together. You wondered what his motives for picking you were. What? My character in-game overthinks things? How could this be? This dance, though, reminds me of a time I danced with this guy. We were not really friends, but we had been at a few parties. He asked me to dance, and we ended up doing this weird, like, flamenco salsa thing together. It was one of the most fun dances I've ever done with somebody. But it was wild. It was so unexpected. I'm like, we don't really know each other, but we just kind of went for it, and it was great. I had a great time. Something about this just like popped that memory back into my head. Had the decision been entirely random, I would overthink it. Though you were curious, short of asking him outright, there was no way you could tell. The style of dance dictated by the music meant that you were spending a solid few minutes in very close proximity to someone you'd never met before. It was peculiar to think that you didn't even know his name, but you were near enough to notice a small birthmark on his neck. Indeed. You could just ask for his name, but he'd shown no inclination to talk once you'd begun dancing. While you were considering this, the song came to an end. Oh. Your hands released, and he politely took a step back. I'm sorry. I saw the last sentence and I died. I think I would cease to function at like 13 years old. If I had heard that, I'd be like, huh? That's incredible.
Thank you for dancing with me. You have nice legs.
He breezed away before you could formulate a response to the unprompted compliment. Right? Right? Okay, thank goodness. Me and in-game Molly, we are in sync. It wasn't a feature you were accustomed to people commenting on, good or bad. Yeah, other than like, man, you're stumpy because you're so short. I don't think I've ever had a compliment on my legs. I don't know what to do with this information. He disappeared into the crowded dance floor just like that. He Cinderella'd me. I've been Cinderella'd with no shoe. It was a mystery if you'd see him around the country club again, or if this was the first and last time he would saunter into your life. We'll see him again. I would find more people to dance with. The band announced that the next song would be their last. Though the declaration lured a few more people to the dance floor, it was still clear that the party was winding down. The number of guests had dwindled steadily over the course of the evening. The refreshment table, once crammed with plates full of food, was host to sad platters of what little morsels remained. The nearing conclusion of the soiree prompted you to look around for your parents. Within moments, you spotted them heading towards you. Hi, Moms.
Molly, there you are. Good to see you again, kiddo. I saw you cutting a rug on the dance floor.
Your mom said it in a joking tone and did a boogieing mime to accompany it. Thanks. Yeah, I did that. Mom just laughed at the reaction.
Hey.
Who was that guy you were dancing with earlier? I didn't recognize him.
Me neither. I didn't catch his name.
That's fantastic.
Ooh, mysterious. He must have been a guest of a member. Or he could have been visiting the area. The Cypress has other branches in different towns.
It seemed the topic would have to be left there. It was unanimous that nobody knew anything, but we all noted it was a mysterious stranger.
Let's go.
All right then, let's get ready to get back to Elizabeth. If we're lucky, the house might still be standing.
Ma swatted your mom playfully, laughing at the comment. You cast one last look at the party. You saw people making the most of the final song on the dance floor, as well as those exchanging farewells and suppressing yawns. Most of the faces were happy ones, despite the weariness that was starting to creep in. I had had a good time. In addition to the good memories you'd made, you felt a little more grown up as a result of attending the party. Turning away, you shelved that thought for another time as your moms led the way back to the car. You hurried to catch up to them, feeling childlike once more. Delightful. And, now that I'm looking at this moment screen, I forgot that I should do birthday for Miranda's sake. So, I'm gonna go do that quick off screen, and then I'm gonna move ahead to step 3, and we'll, reunite with our mysterious Cinderella man. See you in a second, guys. Okay, I'm actually in the in-betweeny part of going from step 2 to step 3, but I had the option to talk to Lee about the soiree, and I'm like, can we tell her we danced with a mysterious stranger? So I'm bringing you in just in case we can. I went to a soiree at my mom's country club. There was lots of food, dancing, and people dressed up formally.
Cool. Oh, I've been to one of those. They're cool, but how did it go for you?
Yes, I danced with a mysterious stranger. It was Cinderella, Lee. You don't understand.
That's so exciting. I want to be swept off my feet by a mysterious stranger.
It wasn't exactly like that. It kind of was, though. After laughing a bit, you dove into telling Lee everything about your encounter. You enjoyed sharing that memory with her.
Do you think you'll see him again?
I don't know. He didn't seem to be from here.
Oh well, guess he'll always be a mystery.
What was your big highlight of the summer, Lee?
Talking to you is always the best part of my summer.
Okay, that was fun. That was fun. I'll continue skipping ahead. I'll bring you in when Baxter moves into the neighborhood. Okay, we have arrived at move-in day. And as Cove says,
Our watch begins.
so Cove is slightly different than he's been in my other runs. Probably because I didn't do as many moments with him. But he looks exactly the same except he doesn't have glasses. And it's throwing me. I'm like, man, the glasses really did a lot for him in step 3. For me. So I have to get used to him not wearing glasses. But otherwise, he has his ponytail, so. Anywhoosies, time to wait for Monochrome Man to show up in my life again. Nodding in agreement, you joined Cove on the front porch steps. You both sat there in a comfortable familiarity as you settled in for the waiting game on the new tenants. The neighborhood was quiet, and you sighed contentedly, closing your eyes and feeling the light breeze. Eventually, you both perked up at the sound of a car. A taxi followed the noise, turning onto your street. Cove's eyebrows raised at that sight, and he sat up straight on the stoop.
Oh?
This has to be them, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be. Now that they were here, you couldn't help but feel just a bit curious. You wondered what kind of person would be living in the neighborhood for the summer. The taxi pulled to a stop as you expected in front of the now empty condo. It was on the same side of the street as your house, a few buildings further up. Without getting to his feet, Cove tried leaning and tilting his head to get a view of the passenger door as it opened. The single occupant exited the cab.
Huh?
You could feel what Cove was in that moment. After the last renters, this new visitor was definitely not what you'd expected. Hello, there comes trouble, and I've hit the wrong button. There we go. This CG is what started my downfall so long ago. And now we're here, actually on his route. I can't believe it. It was a young man. Had to be close to your own age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black, white, and gray outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the scheme. The only other pop of color was from something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission. A pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience.
Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors.
The smile, already prominent on his face, curled further. It was cocky, but you didn't get the impression it meant something adverse.
Hallelujah.
You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. The color-coordinated man left it there, however, and with a firm click, he shut the door of his ride. Then he turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly, black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. When it opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands, and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around a corner. The new renter had officially arrived. He left his suitcase on the ground, out of the way of the street, and sauntered over your way with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Cove finally stood up to greet this person. You followed suit.
Excellent.
I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet you, neighbors.
You were standing on the side he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he offered his hand to you first. This would be just too wild. I will shake it. Baxter gripped your hand firmly to give a satisfying shake. Hi, Baxter. I'm Molly.
Hey, Molly. I am quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends.
From your other side, Cove made a sarcastically amused scoff.
And you are?
He tilted his hand out to Cove next. Cove instead crossed his arms to express his rejection of that idea, still eyeing Baxter carefully.
I'm Cove.
Baxter's whole demeanor lit up for unknown reasons. His eyes shone as he studied Cove a moment.
Really?
Now wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name.
Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past, but it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh.
Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove. That's gorgeous.
What?
It's really not.
What would I do in this? Would I say anything? I probably wouldn't know what to say if it was me there. I'd be like, After a noticeable pause, Baxter caught on that he made you both uncomfortable.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't intended to mean more than it did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes.
It's a dance joke, haha. He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. He began to speak, but suddenly stopped and closed his mouth. He became absorbed in his own thoughts, tapping a finger to the side of his chin as he stared at you. You shot Cove a confused glance. He shrugged in response. After a few moments, Baxter had that same smile curl from before. He removed the finger from his face and used it to point directly at you.
We've met before.
What?
When?
Baxter continued to smile widely, his head tilted slightly to the side as he studied your visage. I would lose my mind if I ran into a guy I hadn't seen in like years and he was just like, I remember you from that one party where we danced. Be like, I'm sorry, what?
It's embarrassing, but I haven't remembered that part yet.
He laughed cordially while Cove stared at him in disbelief. Baxter chuckled further, mirth growing at what must have been a very amusing situation in his mind.
I'm getting there. Don't tell me. I know you want to, but do not. It'll come to me.
He continued looking you up and down, hand back over his chin while he racked his brain for answers. And then, recognition appeared in his eyes. With a snap of his fingers, he announced his revelation as though he had forgotten his own birthday.
The Cypress at the summer soiree. Of course.
Turning away from you, Baxter began rambling to himself about the details.
That had to have been before any regionals, so at the time I was about 14 years old. That makes it 5 years ago from now, right?
Cove's mouth fell open.
Seriously?
Are you kidding me? Is he serious? Did you really meet this guy at that country club party 5 years ago?
I mean, yeah. Yup, that's the one. I have never forgotten the mystery boy. You weren't sure what to say or what to do. He'd appeared in front of you so unexpectedly then, and he'd done it again. Cove's eyes darted between you and Baxter again. The instigator of this discussion lightly gestured with his hands in response.
It's good not to forget a face. You see, my parents are members of the Cypress. They happened to be passing through on a trip across different states when they heard about the event.
To be honest,
Funnily enough, the entire reason they joined was for the connections they could make with other members there. Looks like that perk has finally hit for me, too. Originally, I thought it was only any good since I could occasionally dance there.
Baxter suddenly stopped and stood up straighter. He grinned.
Dance. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing earlier. Oh. I don't know much about dancing, but that's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down.
Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Well,
He grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you.
If either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available.
Cove frowned at the overt forwardness.
Oh, thanks. I'll pass, I think.
I could probably show you some moves. I'll take you up on that offer sometime.
I look forward to that then.
After that, there was a lull in conversation and Cove attempted to fill it.
so...
What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Oh, yes, well, my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I'm off for a semester from college and not living in the dorms.
There was a playful glint in Baxter's eyes as he continued.
Honestly.
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but lucky for me, they picked the wrong street. considering the two of you live here.
Cove was practically reeling over how Baxter found a way to fit comments like that into every single topic thus far. It is a lot. It's a lot, my dude.
Why do you keep doing that? You don't know us, but you talk like you already do.
Cove spoke, firm yet genuinely confused, and Baxter smiled cautiously.
I don't feel the need to keep words of praise to myself. And when I say something, I mean it.
See?
Plus, what's the point of spending my off semester alone? The best part of being somewhere new is getting to interact with new people.
Yeah, you kinda... I think I said this the first time I met you, was like, I get the impression you kinda go through people fairly quickly. You don't want to get too close. Like, you like to be close for a time and then just be like, I'm free again. I don't want things to progress any further than this. So we'll see how close I am to that. Trying to get into a relationship with you later.
Am I honestly the first person who has acknowledged you're attractive and intriguing people? True, you're hidden away in a tiny tourist trap, but still.
Baxter crossed his arms. After studying your faces a few more seconds, he decided to continue.
Am I only trying to score a hookup or get a romantic fling started by saying those things? No. That isn't the point of speaking well of others. I was raised better than that. Though, would I be fussed if that's what my words led to? Also no. I am flexible, not a surprise, I can back off with the lines if you don't like the attention. But I would like to be friends, if we can.
Cove wasn't sure how to respond. He glanced at you, and he continued to look at your face when he spoke.
Thanks for answering. I don't think I'm interested in that. Maybe not the friend thing, but the other part.
Probably the bottom one? I'm gonna save. I'll see what happens when I do the bottom one. Boop. Baxter looked at you and smiled apologetically. Yeah, I kind of, like, I don't know. I kind of, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine with it. I just, like, I guess I'm forgetting, I'm not 13 anymore at this juncture. It's like 17, 18. I'm starting to become more bold. So actually I was still stuck in like 13-year-old mindset for the last step. I need to kind of get out of there. It doesn't bother me.
Glad we're working things out.
Shifting his weight to his other foot, Baxter tried to move forward.
So?
Since you were both already out here, did my arrival interrupt anything? Definitely not.
Yeah, we were waiting. That condo hasn't had a new renter in my entire life. We had to see who was moving in now. Baxter laughed at that, immensely pleased with your response.
I'm getting a reputation in this town already. Not bad. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer, but we can save the schedule talk for later. I should get my things inside.
He gave a small nod of the head and flashed you both a dazzling smile.
Goodbye.
For today.
Cove simply waved goodbye. Bye, Baxter. See you. Baxter then turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Cove were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. With him completely out of the scene, Cove let out a long breath.
Well,
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad.
You burst into a fit of laughter trying to imagine the conversation.
At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor and now we can go meet up with Terry and Miranda.
Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's condo one last glance over your shoulder. Choose your feelings for Baxter. Crush for sure. How comfort do I want to be? Probably nervous. I'm gonna go nervous crush for this run. We'll see how it goes. Yes. Since you're romantically interested in Baxter and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously, you can choose what initiative level. Make sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So we've added some flexibility. Low initiative means that Baxter will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in those situations there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss the MC as a greeting or in an emotional moment. Oh? What emotional moments am I about to get into, game? Every piece of physical interaction will be either initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Middle initiative means there will be the certain times when Baxter requests to touch the MC, many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also he will pretty regularly give affection automatically. One example would be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy or emotional or something else. You know? Something else. And in other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Baxter the space to be the one to act afterwards. I mean, I like a guy who can take initiative. Overall, the love interest can get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. Now we get to high initiative. Includes everything middle does, but it also means that player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having what was I just gonna say there? Baxter give physical affection even more frequently and with less prompting. Instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Baxter acting automatically. This level is only recommended if you're very comfortable with physical affection and would prefer to simply see it happen rather than always holding the reins on it. However, this level is mostly relevant if Baxter ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Situations where high-level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship, right? Will I get there being a nervous mess around him? Maybe not. That might be like an AU thing. We'll see. The parts that are also included in the middle initiative which will be seen whether you're dating or not. Once you pick your level, it can't be changed. The choice only comes up at the very beginning. We hope you enjoy whichever initiative option you decide on. High all the way, baby! I thought he was pretty charming. He got me. He Cinderella'd me. You really weren't sure when, but at some point Baxter won you over. You were curious to get to know him better. Laughing quietly, you wondered how Baxter would fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Alright, turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside for now. You both started making your way towards town. Okay, let's skip ahead. What did you just say? Oh, the turtle. I'd blush at it. You weren't expecting him to remark on the keychain today. He knew you still had it. You watched him study it, smiling warmly. He must have been remembering the day he bought it for you.
It's nice.
I'm actually glad you like it.
Don't. Of course, how can I not? Really, Randy? Really?
Hey, buddies.
Hey, good to see you both.
Me too.
What happened?
Me too.
You're sorry. Alright, though, you shouldn't do it again.
From this moment forward, we'll use the crosswalk. Cross our hearts. I totally butchered crosswalk, but it's fine.
It is fine,
No
Terry. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his athletic and academic interests, that's why you have no glasses, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration California Affiliation, or ORCA. Let's see, I joined ORCA as well. I can always agree there. I support you, Jude and Grant. Always support Jude and Grant. Ooh, we're talking about our neighbor. Alright, the current conversation was well and truly over, so Cove took a chance to speak.
This has been on my mind the whole time, but there was never a good chance to mention it before.
What is it?
There's a new person renting a condo in our neighborhood.
Really? From one tale of an unusual character to another, Cove spoke of Baxter Ward as if he was a local legend.
His name is Baxter. He's in college, though it doesn't look like he's much older than us. Maybe Miranda's age? He's not gonna be what you expect, no matter how much you try to guess.
The description put Terry on the edge of a non-existent seat, and she was about to fall off it somehow.
What?
A new man in town? Who's our age? Cove Holden has been holding out on us as usual. I won't guess. You tell me what he's like. He's a charmer. I can't wait to see him again. Intriguing. He added on to your initial description with a couple thoughts of his own. More explanation was required to make any sense of it.
I mean...
Baxter is, bold. He says whatever he wants, and he dresses dramatically. Everything on him is black and white, even his hair.
Huh? Cove had been correct. That kind of man had not been considered in the realm of possibilities for Terry or Miranda.
But I don't care that he has a style or that he's not shy. What I don't get is the way he acts so impressed by strangers who have done nothing. He said he wanted to hang out with us, me and Molly, this summer and all this other stuff. And that was the very first time we'd met. I have no idea why he cares, or why it was so easy for him to say that to people he knows nothing about.
So, you got his number?
No.
Cove's eyes squinted, and his nostrils squished inward from the incredulous scrunch that suggestion had given him. Considering the picture that had been painted, he couldn't understand why Terry would imagine anything like that had happened. I wish. Then do it! And you should too, Cove. You don't meet a social butterfly like that every day. The black and white color scheme proves he's a rare specimen.
Ooh.
This Baxter is flapping around the town, coming to appreciate our two good buds, Cove and Molly, right? Like, flower buds and he's a butterfly.
Terry, that pun is such a stretch.
Well, he sounds like my kind of guy, and we could always use more friends.
No, it's very possible to have as many friends as you need.
This was escalating. The more fired up Terry got, the more Cove and Miranda wanted to shield themselves from the embers. I know what you mean, Terry. The group of four was evenly split between the sociable and the shy. That line was drawn clearly with this discussion. No longer moving forward, Terry stood there with her hands on her hips.
I'm on it.
I'm gonna meet Baxter. Right now. Cove completely stalled, except for his lips, which sputtered a response.
What about getting food?
I know the way. You can all go ahead. I'll be back before the food hits the table. You'll see it. Terry's light chuckles contrasted massively with a hefty sigh from Cove.
Oh, you're actually going to go to a stranger's house and ask for his number. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Why do you gotta be like this?
If I wasn't like this, me and you never would have been friends ourselves. And I probably wouldn't have been friends with Randy either. I don't live in this town. I can't miss an opportunity to connect. Otherwise, that'd mean leaving it up to chance or fate or Cove's ability to have relationship progress on his own. I don't have all year for that. He'll be gone before then.
We're cool.
Not to insult you for going slow, Cove. You're good the way you are. Baxter can be a butterfly, and you can be a snail. There was affection in Terry's extended metaphor, but Cove still frowned at the almost certainly correct assessment of how his connection with Baxter was going to develop.
No.
I don't like snails.
How about being a sea turtle, then?
Okay. I'm a turtle.
Good, you can accept that. Order me the General Tso's chicken. I'll get his number. Inspired by the name of her meal, or perhaps her meal was inspired by the sudden mission, Terry gave a military salute before flipping around. Miranda and Cove simply watched in disbelief. Hold on, I'll go with you.
Molly?
Sorry, Cove! Go on without me. Cove gave a halting yell, but he had no intention of stopping you. He just had more foresight than you in that instance.
What are we supposed to order for you, then?
Oh. You slowed your pace way down and glanced over your shoulder. You called out, chow mein!
Alright.
Okay.
He let you go, and you found when you looked ahead that Terry had stopped in her tracks. She waited for you after you announced your intention of joining. Thanks.
Thanks.
I knew you were a bud.
The trip back wasn't long. You'd barely left your neighborhood before the announcement of this change of plans, but there was no time to lose. Together, you sped down the sidewalk, around the bend, and in only a few minutes you'd returned to the ever-familiar sloped street. I'm so excited to see how this goes. Terry's feet took her halfway down the road, smack dab between your house and Cove's. It was a force of habit. Which is his? She asked the question so naturally, you almost missed realizing that she wouldn't have known where to even go if you hadn't decided to come after her. Almost. But I wanted to see Baxter, so I'd kind of benefit too. You pointed a finger towards one of the rectangular houses back up higher on the hill that she'd passed right by. That's it.
Ooh, glad you're here. Let's go.
She hoofed it in reverse, upwards to what had been the Forbidden Fortress. Though the former danger that haunted those halls had been released, and instead it was claimed by a proper gentleman. Oh my. Terry fearlessly rang the doorbell. She'd never understood the true terror of the Donnells, but one might think there'd be some hesitation in the action. After all, she was still approaching the home of someone so unfamiliar to her she hadn't known which house it was. But they would have thought wrong. Terry remained fully confident in the decision. You stood at her side with hardly more justification to be doing this. The door opened, and there was the man you'd met 30 minutes ago. Baxter had said goodbye for today when he'd left then. What an overestimation of how long it'd be before you'd once again show him your face.
Oh.
He must have believed what he'd said, because seeing you raised his brow and put a questioning edge in his exclamation. Why were you back? I have problems. It's the only explanation at this point. After the initial recognition, though, his features all smoothed out into his default expression. Lidded eyes and a curved smile.
My pleasure.
Oh, that's a new voice line I haven't heard before.
Molly, it's a pleasure to see you. And you.
Baxter's head angled squarely at Terry. It was at a playful tilt.
You weren't there before.
Still keeping his face turned to Terry, his deep brown eyes shifted towards you.
Molly must be popular to have such a rotating collection of company. I expected as much.
Oh, you tease. Baxter blinked, and it was as if he'd never taken focus from Terry for even a second. His attention was on her so fixedly. He held out a hand decorated with sleek black rings to her, then gave a cordial introduction.
Nice to see you.
I am Baxter Ward. How nice to meet you.
The offered hand received a sprightly slap, a side five, in place of a shake. I'm Terry, a friend of your neighbor's. His interest was piqued. Baxter far less subtly looked between the individuals making a house call, trying to gauge the motivation for it. With no hint to go off of, he settled for asking directly.
How are you?
I see. And what can I do for you, my neighbor and friend of my neighbor's?
Terry was gonna come either way, but I thought I'd check in. Is the condo nice?
It's lovely.
His voice was distinctly sweet and soft. The tone might have been born from a simple appreciation of the condo. Or it might have been because you cared to ask, and the quality of lodging was irrelevant to how happy he was to answer. Molly here and Cove not here talked about you moving in for the summer. It sounded cool to me. I decided to see you and your black and white hair myself. His face like, wow. The reason people were unexpectedly at his doorstep had been revealed. Baxter's response to such an intrusion was pleased. He instinctively brushed a few strands of dyed hair, smiling all the while.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
You sounded cool, and you are.
Let's swap numbers.
Really?
This town truly is neighborly. I'm not from this place.
Terry's reason for seeing him was far more tenuous than Baxter assumed. She didn't live in the neighborhood, or the one next past, or anywhere in Sunset Bird. She laughed heartily over it. Baxter snickered much more wryly. Neither of them had a care in the world.
Then it's the social circle from wherever they come that's so friendly. Even better.
Does that mean I can have your number?
Certainly.
That would be excellent.
Alright.
Good, good. Terry pulled out her cracked cell. Baxter did the same thing at the same time. His phone case was black and white. No surprise there. They hovered closer to each other, bent over the screens and tapping away. After a mistype or two, numbers were exchanged.
Thank you.
Welcome. Would it be alright if I had your number? And I'll give you mine. His head remained bowed, but his gaze lifted towards you. His cheeks went up as well in a sparkling smile.
Of course. I'd love that.
Baxter waited for you to get your own phone out, and he repeated his number. You got it down, then gave yours in return. The contact name on his list was Molly Across Street with an exclamation point. Why am I giggling over that? I just like that it's like, I mean, it's smart to be like, oh, okay, it's my neighbor across the street. That makes sense, but it just seems, it gives me the impression that there's multiple Mollys, and that tickles me for some reason.
Perfect.
He slid his phone into his back pocket.
Honestly.
And I must admit, I was not expecting this vacation to go as well as it has. Even with a generous estimation of my sociability, I imagined I'd need a week or more to find someone to exchange numbers with. Instead, I have 2 new friends the very instant I arrived.
Oh, Baxter, this isn't even all. Since you've seen me, Molly, and Cobe, it's only a matter of time before you meet Miranda, too. And there's still Liz, obviously. Maybe even Lee will make an appearance. The news of yet more strangers being invited into Baxter's vacation had no visible impact on him. He replied, contented and calm.
I look forward to all of that.
As you should. Now, we need to make haste. There are other matters we must attend to. Lunch awaits! That was one way to put it. Baxter's formal tone seemed to be rubbing off on Terry.
See you.
Ah, then I won't keep you. I hope to see you again soon, though. Please feel free to text or call anytime. Have a good day.
Same. Exactly. Take care. Come on, Molly. Like 2 shots, you went off up the road. Baxter didn't move an inch from the entryway as you left. Neither you nor Terry spoke on the race to the restaurant. The clock was ticking. Every second longer you took could be another drop in degrees for the warmth of your meal. You stopped to catch your breath only when you were under the shaded awning of the Chinese restaurant. Terry wiped her fully exposed forehead with her palm.
Finally!
Making friends works up an appetite. Yep. Good thing we're about to eat. You entered the building together leisurely, pretending to be normal people who arrived for lunch in a totally reasonable way. Terry explained to the hostess up front that a table should already be prepared for her and you with 2 others. One who's short and in shorts, cute, freckled, big purple eyes, a lacy top. She's shy and probably didn't say much, but I love that. The over-describing of Miranda is great. The hostess politely stopped Terry's babbling with the raise of a hand before she even began to describe Cove. That was plenty to get the idea across. You were directed towards the center of the dining area. Miranda and Cove were there, speaking quietly. In front of them were nothing more than 4 cups of water and a plate of 3 spring rolls. The dish was supposed to have 4. As sure as Baxter loved black and white, you knew it was Cove who ate the one that was missing. Even if food technically ended up in Cove's stomach before the 2 of you returned, an appetizer had to be cheating. Terry meant the main course, and it was not there. You could still take it as a win. She certainly did. Hey, we made it!
Hey!
Terry! Molly! Hi! Creases lingering on Cove's face showed he'd been worrying about the results of the unexpected pit stop until the moment you both appeared. But since you'd strode up so victoriously, he was reassured enough to already joke about it.
You barely made it, you know. We ordered a while ago and this appetizer is already here.
Close, but making it is making it. Did my good friends get what I requested? The sudden primness of Terry's speech was lost on Miranda. She didn't understand that a bit of Baxter had been brought to the restaurant with the two of you.
Yeah, I got it. General Tso's chicken for you and chow mein for Molly.
Thank you.
Ah, yes! One of the empty seats was finally filled as Terry plopped down, satisfied after a job well done. You took the last remaining chair.
So, did you actually see him and get his number?
We did. Cove glanced your way, his wavy brows raised in surprise. "We" was clearly the word that was on his mind. You continued with comfortable ease. "I got his number too."
Huh.
Wow.
Why so surprised, Cove? He's just like, huh. For the record, we're just fond friends. That's it. I'm at fond level. I think relax. I'm like relaxed fond with Cove. It's interesting that he's like, Although he grew up with me, he should probably know, like, well, she used to be, like, kind of shy, so this is surprising. The group had settled into its usual rhythm when your proper meals arrived a few minutes later. You ate and talked, and not once did the topic return to that element of the unknown, Baxter Ward. But he remained stuck in a corner of your mind. After many seasons in the sleepy town, you'd had expectations of what the summer of 2016 would look like. It had been all too easy to imagine. Sure, you'd graduated high school. Your life wasn't going to be the same anymore, but it was too soon for that to warp the existence you'd had for over a decade. At least you'd thought so. And yet, there was Baxter. He was something you'd not counted in a single one of your vacation plans. You couldn't have until barely an hour ago. Now his number was on your phone. A new world, one you had no grasp on, was already poking its way into your old routine, and it had come in the form of a black and white ballroom dancer. You were lucky. The final days of familiar comfort had come, but the first sight beyond that was a charming young man asking you to spend time together. I'm gone. Oh no. Molly's so gone! The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in a blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. Alright. You know what? I'm gonna have a skip and must step today. Days like today, filled with good food and good company, left you feeling energized. As you walked alongside Cove, you peered at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. I'm gonna go to work part-time and, focus on time that's not school or work. And that was the basics. I would work online. Find a company to work at. And that was all. I wanted to try to figure out what I truly want and take some time to relax. And for that, you wanted to stay local. I'd already applied to jobs. And I'd been open about my situation. Everyone knew, I think.
I guess.
Yeah, be glad we're still in Sunset Bird together.
Good night.
Okay, and that's it. We did it. Hold on, I gotta take a sneak peek. All right, you can play 5 new moments centered around Baxter. He also has a special epilogue in Step 4. So, to unlock it, play through all 5 of Baxter's Step 3 moments, if I must. To do so, you must choose to be on fond or crush with Baxter in Step 3. Choosing indifferent will lock his moments. Okay. You must also include Baxter during the hang moment in Step 3, which can be accessed from both Cove's Step 3 moments and Baxter's. Then you will have the option to play Baxter's epilogue during Step 4. You can only have 1 epilogue per playthrough. You can make a save on the epilogue section page to reload there and pick another later. Baxter's DLC can be a friendship or romance story. And of course, we're going to try to romance our way over there. But that's a good intro to our Monogram Man. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm excited. I am so excited to finally get into this. I'm already getting the butterflies. So yeah, we shall continue next time. Until then, I will see you later, guys.